That's right. We are going to talk about the new Forms experience. And I'm Marcellus. I'm leading the business productivity team in the Liferay portal. And that's it. So that's our awesome team. Most of our are based in Brazil, in Recife especially. There are a couple faces that work in our LA office or Spanish office, but we are trying to invite them to Brazil. It's not hard. Okay, and what do we do? Basically, we build the apps to make you more productive. So that's basically our motivation behind our general tools. And some of our projects are Calendar, DDL, DDM, Calio Engine, Workflow Apps, and Reports. But today we are very excited to announce you the Liferay Forms. That's a new concept that we're trying to add to Liferay 7. But why we are dealing with such subject, and why forms matter in general? Well, forms are a vital part of any web application. When we are online, most of our experience and communications with the systems come to us as a form. So basically, forms enables a conversation between the web user and the web publisher. In general, forms means a way that companies have to get information for users, engagement, or even revenue. So we can imagine like a company with like Facebook, without the forms or those ability to engage people, they would simply not exist. But forms can be bad, really bad. Please raise your hands if you hate fill out the form. Yeah. Yeah, so we're going to look at some causes of those frustrations in general. The first cause is design mistakes. This is a real form used by in US elections. And basically, it has a huge design mistake there that it shows up the Democrats on the second, as the second on the left. But in order for you to vote for them, you need to actually press the third button, for example. That's the number one. Bad chosen field controls is another bad example. This site, the Portuguese government decided that using like select box for filling out big numbers is a very good idea. I'm still not sure why they don't use it for letters or anything else. Have you ever tried to send a LinkedIn invite? So that's basically what happens. They show that the personal note information is optional, but once you try to submit it, they say that's required. So it doesn't make any sense. And some of them can even cause nausea. So what's going on? And so what's the problem here? Forms can be really unpleasant to fill. In the way that they can ask you questions that you don't know how to answer. Or forms with too many fields or required fields not clearly marked usually drives users away from the site. So in general means that the form is just not a technical issue, but human interaction issue that we need to deal with. And unfortunately, we can't get rid of it. On the other hand, good forms also provide good services. This is an example of the Google form. Of course, Google's success it's not only related to the form that it contains, but it's a clear indication for the user what they need to do in this case. That's just type the keyword and click search. So the Google's UI is very simple. Netflix uses a non-traditional form, but it's worth to mention because it's very user-friendly. So answer like all those move preference when you are setting up your profile, it's just joyful and it's very good to feel. So I like it a lot. But what makes a good form? There are some features and characteristics that all those good forms share. The first one is that good forms are usually small. I mean, they have a very small area to fill out, and the way they do it is that they divide the form filling into sections. So that's a good important feature. And the alignment also is important, so they keep the labels alignment very clear. And another example is that forms usually helps users when they don't know how to answer the question. So in this example, it's blurry, but they asked about the car registration number, but if the user don't remember, they have a help text to help the user to find out that information. Also, good forms helps user to clearly indicate what they are doing right and what they are doing wrong. So in this case, we have instant feedback about the fields that we have filled correctly or the one that we need to pay attention. And they end generally with a positive feedback, so they keep users motivated after completing those painful processes to fill out. So we look at those practice and we started to wonder if we could do something to help. And that's what Liferay Forms came to our mind. And basically with Liferay Forms, we can let the administrators focus on what really matters. So basically, they can start to identify and how could a form provide value to the business. Or you don't need to worry about those design principles or good practice because we just spent hundreds of hours thinking about it. And developers don't need to worry about any validations, markup upgrades between Liferay versions, and because we are going to generate everything for you. And that all means productivity, so you gain speed during this process. And of course, simplification of the work and consistency, because you are going to have a single tool that's going to generate a lot of those forms. So the UI is going to be consistent, and the experience is going to be the same. But how to achieve that? It can be simple as annotate some interface with just annotations, DDM form annotations, or DDM form field. And you are going to perform some transformations between that to a UI, to a render UI. In this example, we are using for our field settings. We are just going to show in a few moments ahead. And basically, that field settings describe my settings of any field type that I have. So any field type, I will have label, or if it's required or not. So basically, we are just mapping everything into a UI. So I have that. Or you can use our own UI, own form builder, so you can create by your own. And of course, we are going to generate forms that are supported by multiple devices. Okay, demo time. So bear with me. So I need to system preference. Mirror display. Okay, so we are going to create a very simple form because of the time restrictions. It's going to be a feedback form. We are going to create 2 pages of that form, one for personal information and the other for feedback. So the first thing you notice is that you have under Content panel a new app called Forms. Let's click it. So you can see I have 2 created forms in a nice preview. When I click Edit, I go to the form builder. So the first thing I need to do is to add a title for my form. Let's say DEVCON survey. I can add any description I want, for example. And this is my page. So for my page, I can add, let's say, personal information. Okay. And now I need to add a field for that. So we are going to add first name, last name, just the required fields for any personal information. When you click Add, we have right now we have those 4 field types available, but those are coming from OSGI bundles, so if you just can deploy any field type you want. So for the text field type, as I said, we are generating that UI, for example, using that annotation. So in my field type, for example, I have field type settings, which are properly mapped to that UI. So let's go ahead and what's your first name? Okay. And then I can mark it as required. Okay, now I want to add the last name field beside this one. And all I need to do is just drag and drop and create another column. So, nice. Yeah. So, let's add another. What's your last name? So this is the same as the one for the first name. And now I'm going to create like an email field that's going to be placed behind this one. It's also a text field. Okay. Okay, it's going to be required. But also I need a special type of validation for email. Email is not a single text. So I go to advanced options and I can click enable validation. So for text field, I can choose email validation and choose a custom error that's going to be displayed. Please type valid email address. Okay. Okay, so it would be nice for us to also get the country information where you guys come from. So let's add that as a select box. Where are you from? Okay, so for the country, I can either choose to fill out all the countries manually, or I can use our data source provider, for example. Right now, we just have one data provider. That's also an OSGI model that you can deploy by your own. We are using the REST data provider for filling up the country's informations. So each data provider contains its own settings using those annotations that I just showed to you. So you can deploy it, and we are going to generate the same UI based on your configurations. So for the REST one, we have the out login service URL. So we are going to grab from our JSON WS. Oh. It's one of those two. This one. Okay. So let's grab the URL for those call. And I'm going to populate here. Out logins, my regular Liferay password. Tester.liferay.co and password. And the value is what we want to retrieve from those array of values. So we can invoke that, and in the result I can see that's an array of JSON objects. And basically the information that I want to retrieve is this name current value here. So I go there and use that as my value. So once I save it, the data is automatically being fetched from the REST services. So, but how do I add a new page for that? So you go to that ellipsis button and you add a new page. As simple as that. And here we are going to add feedback information. So they usually just keep repeating this process. How did you like the new forms? Okay, like. And here you can specify the values you want for your radio field. So, blah. Oh, sorry. Blah, I can add another one. It's okay, okay. It's awesome. Okay, that's good. And finally, we are going to add just a new text area field with comments. Let's say comment. I can say that it's a multi-line, so it's going to be rendered as a text area. And I can add a new option that's called visibility options. So we can hide or display a field based on certain condition. And for this one, I'm going to use my field type like that I just registered. Dot equals, you can write any Java expression here. We're going to evaluate that. And equals, sorry, blah. And here I can add, okay, that's okay. So this field is going to be displayed if I just select the blah option, or so you can provide any other details. Why I didn't like the form. So here I can click save, but I'm not sure what's going to happen. Let's go. Boom. So we have the DEVCON survey out there. And basically, you can switch between versions, so I can know what page this form is being published. But right now, we are publishing automatically the form. So you can go here and see the form you just created. So you can share this link on any other thing. So if I type here, I get instant validation. So let's go ahead. I'm from Brazil. Tavares. Here, let's try to do that. Oh, missed that. Validate your address. That's okay. And here I have my first field. The second field is hidden right now because I don't have the condition satisfied. If I click awesome, it should show up. It's okay. If blah, I should show up. So whatever say, it's awesome anyway. And I can submit it. Okay, so basically that's the idea behind it. Let's finish up the slides. Thanks. Thanks, guys. So a little bit of the architecture overview. So the form is basically built on top of DDL and DDM. DDL for the records, DDM for the form definition or layout definitions. But we built a lot of other modules to support it, such as the evaluator engine, so we can evaluate those expressions and validation expressions or visibility expressions. We have modules for the data provider that I just showed you for the country information. We have the soil handling engine that you just put in the portal, so we can build our field types handling using soil as well. And so we have a bunch of JSON storage. That's our default storage for any data that comes to the UI. And what's coming next? So we are still working on the form building experience, that process that the user needs to do for fill out a form, to create a form, but to plan also to add field libraries, so you can create a group of fields and save that for reuse in the next forms. Localization is something that we need to work on still. Themes, so you can customize the appearance and look and feel of your form. And regarding integration, we plan to continue to improve the data source, the data provider thing. Also add workflow support for any entry and so you can trigger email submissions, can trigger an email after user submit a form or anything. And also we plan to, after getting those data, we need to work on the analytics behind it, so we can trigger some actual business value behind those submissions. And that's it. I've published the same form, actually variant of this form under this site. So please, takes a few minutes just to fill out, and it will be very important for us to hear what you guys think. And I will be publishing a lot of docs in the next months regarding all those architecture decisions and technical details on my blog, so you can keep an eye on that. That's it. Okay.
Thank you, Marcellus.
Thank you.
Anyone have questions? Plenty of them. I think I saw it.
Yes, thank you for this new web form editor. Can you do something like compare two fields or other field interdependencies? Like, is the second entry of a password the same as the first one?
Yeah, the password field is something that's on our roadmap. So we just have 4 right now, but we still have to create some of those basic fields that we need support, and password is one of them. And basically, with the password comparison, you need to use the validation expression so you can validate to match those results.
And I would like to replace our form portlet, which we did individually, but the outcome would be a structured email. Is this possible with it now?
Send email?
Yes.
Yeah, so as I said, we are planning to do some integrations with workflow or any other custom code, so you can trigger email or anything after form submissions. Yeah, that's something planned for us.
Okay, so on that side.
One more question to the expression evaluation. You mentioned that you are able to do a conditional visibility toggling.
Yes.
My question is, will it be able to toggle whether a certain field is mandatory or based on a previous field?
Yes. Yeah. So you have access to the full state of the form. So you can query not only that particular field, but any field of the form, and you can query check the value that you have for that field in particular.
Thank you.
First of all, thank you for this. You had a lot of things saying coming next. Do you have any kind of timeline of what you're going to do? You knew this was going to happen, right?
Oh, you should talk to Ed regarding that. Basically, we are just going to publish for Liferay 7 the basic set of functions that you need to fill out to create a form and those experience. But as we are modular right now, so everything is a modular, so we can expect that we are going to release more often. So more and more features are coming separate from the Liferay core release.
So yeah, no, not really in a timeline. Thank you.
Hi, Marcellus. Over here.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a lot of clients. They will be very excited about this new feature. And I just have a quick question. Is there any way to control the flow of the forms? Let's say, based on the information provided on the first form, you can choose between, like a second form.
A second form, or you mean like a second page?
Yeah, second page, yeah. So you have the first page, they fill the first page. Based on that information, you choose B or C.
Yeah, so that's something we want to include. Is also visibility expression to the page, not to the fields itself. So you can create, just as I shown as a field visibility expression, you can add that to the page, and the page is going to be hidden or displayed once you have matched certain of criteria during the process.
I see. Cool. Thank you.
Nice. Thank you.
When I create my own OSGI field, how powerful am I? Can I add my own CSS, my own JavaScript, my own validation? I don't know, everything.
Yeah. So we are using Soy template engine. So you can create the markup with Soy, but you can define any JavaScript component you want for your field. So we are doing that already. So you can check up on the GitHub how the way you are doing. And we have some logic behind those field types. Not only markups, rendering stuff, but you can also add JavaScript code to identify how you can behave based on that. So that's part of the field type construction.
I have a second question about the login part. I mean, when you fill out the email and the password, is that done on the front end using JavaScript? The fetching of Afghanistan and the list?
What do you mean?
Yeah, you filled out before the username and the password.
Yeah, the request, yes.
So it is supposed to do the browser.
Yes.
So I have to be very careful there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
Any additional questions?
Okay. So will this form be available to edit journal articles? So if they have a specific structure, can I build a form with this engine to create the new journal article?
So you can create journal article?
Articles.
Embedded journal article inside the forms, or?
No. So if you create a structure, then you create a form with it.
Oh, you mean if you're going to replace by this one?
Yep.
Yep. So the plan is just to have a more better, consistent experience around the forms in general. So it may be not, fit to have the web content like with layouts and paginations and that stuff. But basically, we are going to use the same engine for creating that. Okay.
Anyone else?
Okay, I guess we're done. Thank you, Marcellus.
Thank you.